Well, here we are on the Reed. This is what I call Wayne's World. We come over here this morning, got here before daylight. We went up on the ridge up here where I've been hunting. I saw talked to 4 gobblers up there yesterday. Went back up there today. As soon as we topped the ridge there, we gave a little owl hoot. Roosted one about 75, 80 yards down the hollow. So we found a big log right up there close to the ridge top. Me and Kevin sat down behind that log. I took this big 3.5, here's what I had loaded. Big 3.5-inch Magnum.
Hold it up there, let's look at it.
Had it loaded in this Remington Special Purpose shotgun, 1137 Super Magnum. Belongs to Quint Roberts. I borrowed it last year and I ain't never took it back. But anyway, we got set up on the bird and called. It took him a long time to fly down. He finally got down on the ground. And we heard some hens, actually heard a hen or two calling on down in the hollow there. And so we had to compete with them hens. We thought it was another hunter, but I believe it really was another hen. But anyway, we had to compete, so we called pretty hard there. And when he finally got down, here he came, right straight at us. It looked like something you'd see on the Outdoor Channel. He came, we zoomed in on him from a long way, and then he come toward us and come up the ridge and got in the open woods and started strutting right toward us. He'd take a few steps and he'd strut, and then he'd take a few steps.
Gobbling every breath.
Gobble, man, he was hammering on the gobbling. He got within, I'd say he was within 45, 50 yards.
At least.
And coming toward us. And Kevin was giving some little purrs and little clucks, just little soft calling him, just to keep egging him on a little bit. I had the shotgun laid up on the log already to my shoulder, my cheek laid down on it just like that. I didn't have to make any motion whatsoever. Had our hoods on. The only parts of us that was even visible was from about our shoulders up because we were hunkered down behind a big log. Perfect setup. I'd already picked a landmark where when the turkey got to that landmark, it was a little stump on the other side of this little wash. And I'd already picked that landmark, and I said, when the bird gets to that stump, I'm pulling the trigger.
Boom.
He got within probably 10 or 15 steps of his death. And all of a sudden, his tail went down, his head flew up, and he looked back over his shoulder like that. And then when he looked back over his shoulder, then he put his head down and he ran down the ridge and then took flight and flew off down the hollow. We didn't know what happened. First thing Kevin said was, what in the world spooked that bird? What spooked that bird? You know how Kevin gets that little high-pitched voice. And we didn't know what happened. We walked out the ridge and did a few calls, never got another gobble. We came back where we'd been set up and went down that way. And when we got down that way, we saw a hunter sitting right there where the birds had spooked. And sitting right over the ridge from where the bird had spooked. And went up there, and it was Bobby Whitus, and he said, boys, I'm sorry I flushed that turkey. He said, I heard the turkey gobbling, and he said, I thought it was down further away, and I was going to walk up here and set up on it and start calling, and he said, when I walked up there, it flew off. He said, I didn't have no idea anybody was working that bird. I said, Bobby, I said, that bird was about 10 yards from his death. I said, we had worked that bird we worked him, about 30 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
We worked that bird for 30 minutes. And I tell you what he was a trophy bird. He was a monster.
Moose.
He was a moose. He had a blue head on him big as a softball. Had a big beard dragging the ground. His wings was wore out from drumming. He was a sight. I mean, he was a sight to behold. When he fanned his tail out, son, it looked like a wash tub. Beat anything that I've ever seen.
Well, that's the truth.
Best turkey hunt I've ever been on. Perfect setup. I told Kevin, I said, you'll hunt the rest of your life and you'll kill some birds. But I said, you'll never have no more perfect setup than what we had this morning. We were on the bird. The bird was committed. He was committed to his death.
Dead bird walking.
He was dead bird walking.